What's up guys, Isaac Walton here for Hunting the River King. I'm taking a look at the Sky Vampire today. If you've watched my videos for a while, you know that I do like quadcopters, I like drones, I like hexacopters. I love getting that unique footage from the sky. The Sky Vampire is by HeliCMax, and it's supposed to offer a few unique features, setting it apart from many of the other drones on the market today. Let's take a look inside. One of the first things you'll notice is the Sky Vampire comes in a big box. Much bigger than its closest competitor, the Tarantula X6. This is because this is a beefy drone with a lot of power. It looks really sharp right off the bat. Also in the box you'll find the Sky Vampire controller, landing gear, extra props, very handy if you're kind of a rough flyer, a camera, I think it's a 2 megapixel camera. These are actually the prop sticks that you'll be using to control it. They're taken out because if they're sticking out they might snap off in transportation. To put them in, just find that right there, slide them in like that. So don't freak out if you grab the controller and don't see the prop sticks in right away. They're in the box. Of course, there's also landing gear. Whoops, here's our landing gear over here. Here's the prop guards. You may or may not use these. I personally don't find them that useful, although the colors kind of help tell you what orientation you're at when they're lit up. These also go on the inside right in here. They'll slide on in there. I don't like them just because I don't want extra weight when I'm carrying a GoPro, but a lot of people do like them because they do offer some protection to the propellers, so you don't chip them up too much. You'll notice I don't have the camera attached either, but this does plug into the little board on the bottom of the Sky Vampire. So here's our Sky Vampire. As I mentioned earlier, this thing is a beast. It looks awesome, it looks fantastic. It actually looks way more intimidating than its closest competitor, the Tarantula X6. It's thick, it's not quite heavy, the plastic's pretty soft, but it's a big drone. Let's take a look at it right now compared to the controller right here, and then we can throw in a Tarantula X6 as well for comparison. We'll take a look at that one right here. Just look at the size difference here. As you can see, well, I don't have the landing gear on the Sky Vampire. The Sky Vampire is a little bit bigger than the Tarantula X6. Hold them up for comparison's sake. Yeah, makes it pretty obvious. Definitely a beefier drone than the Tarantula. While it is a little bit bigger than Tarantula, the good news is a lot of the parts are somewhat compatible. The engines are reportedly compatible if you watch Quadcopter 101's video review, and the propellers are also compatible as well. You can just swap those in and out. Now the engines aren't quite as easy to swap in and out. You'll need to actually solder them in place. They're covered here. You'll have to remove this and remove a cover on the bottom here. But they do come out. It's definitely doable. Now some of the unique features I talked about earlier with the Sky Vampire, the predominant one here is an altitude hold feature. You will not find that on the Tarantula X6. It also has a return to home feature, which is not on the Tarantula X6. It does have a headless mode, which the Tarantula does have. Now the altitude hold feature I think is one of the really key selling points for this quadcopter. What that means is it has, I believe, some sort of barometric pressure sensor on board that detects what altitude you're at using the altitude's pressure, and then actually you can lock in at that level and just fly at that level, which allows you to film a lot more easier. You don't have to worry about the quad constantly soaring upwards, and you can just keep it at one level. Now, something you'll learn, and be careful not to learn this the hard way, is once you're locked in at that level, it's not going to sense an object or something and avoid it if the terrain level changes, and it's not going to elevate itself above objects in the way. It could run right into that if that's there. So be careful when you're flying it. And it does take a second once you come out of the altitude hold mode to go ahead and jump up out of it. And it probably will, if you got the control ramped up a bit, it's going to shoot up, just as it's been demonstrated in some of the other videos online. So let's take a look at a few videos that I've shot so far with this. I'm still working on the best mounting option for an action camera. I tried the default camera. You know, this is fun just to play around with, and it does fit on the bottom, but personally I want to use this to lift a GoPro or lift an SJ4000 or a Xiaomi Yi camera or a Get Up camera. Those are the ones you want to be trying to lift with this because you'll get much higher quality video, and to be honest, that's the real cool thing about this is it can lift one of those without any problem. Alright, let's take a look at it. Alright guys, Isaac Walton here, going to take the HeliCMax Sky Vampire out, going to connect it to the drone. You'll hear a beep in a second, it's synced up. I've turned the camera on the bottom, going to go ahead and fly it. Just going to throttle it up with this. Here we go. Flying really nice. Go ahead and bring it back. Now that, there we go. And right back to us. You can hear the power. and forward. So there you guys have seen a quick clip of me flying the Sky, a little bit shaky. It's not the smoothest camera footage. That has nothing to do with the Sky Vampire. That's primarily from me working with a variety of different mounts, trying to find the best one that will easily mount a nice little action camera on this. Since then I've gotten one of the off-the-shelf mounts that has some rubber kind of bearings in it. Not really rubber bearings, more rubber dampeners. And it's a bigger one, and it definitely takes away a lot of the vibrations. Hopefully I'll have some more videos of that up soon. A couple of other neat features to mention about the Sky Vampire is it has an on and off switch. Now this is a huge jump over the Tarantula X6. The Tarantula doesn't have an on and off switch, so once you pop the battery in as Tarantula, it automatically is turned on, it's draining battery, and you're wasting battery that is, valuable, right? Especially if you're only getting a few minutes of flight. It's up to 9 or 10 minutes on a Tarantula, which is pretty similar to what kind of flight lengths I got with this one, depending on how much I had it carrying. But having an on and off switch allows you to plug the battery in and then get everything else set up. Get your camera strapped on, make sure the landing gear is in the right place, make sure the camera isn't in the way or isn't filming the landing gear or whatnot. And then once you're ready, flip that on switch and get going. And that's one of the great advantages of the Sky Vampire. You also see a couple of other power points right here. There's an output and a camera plug-in on this side right here. So what the camera one's obviously for is for this default camera here, plugs on in, and then one other socket here for some external power. I'd imagine you might be able to plug in, I'm not sure about this, haven't tried it myself, but possibly you could get one of those external gimbals and try to see if it would work in one of these ports here. Now the Sky Vampire does come with a little mount, a mounting bracket to hold it on here. We'll take a look at that in a second, and you can use that to initially mount this camera on it. You can also use it to try to offset some of the wobble that I'll show you in some of my first videos. As you can see, there's one bracket missing here, but that's my own fault. And it will take away some of the wobble, but once again, it's not a gimbal. So let's see how that looks. Guys, I really love quadcopters. As you know, I have several. Haven't done a lot of serious long-term reviews on them, but the Sky Vampire was one that really caught my eye. Wanted to put some serious time into getting to learn how to use it. The guys from HeliCMax have been really great to work with, very responsive, and gone over some of my concerns with me about this drone. I've tried out several other models. You've seen some of my videos, quite a few of my videos on this channel, and the Sky Vampire is one I was just excited about because of some of the potential it held. So let me just give you quick thoughts I've had on it after flying not one but two of these. The first one I got worked really well. However, after a soft landing, half the propellers stopped working. Talked with the guys from HeliCMax, and I even replaced the rotors myself, replaced the engines myself, soldered it in. Still didn't work. They thought it might be a board issue, so they were kind enough to send out another one to test out, which is this one right here. And this one, while the whole thing works, it's proven to be somewhat unreliable. Kind of frustrating. Had some dropouts in transmission, had some very hard landings because of the dropout in transmission, even when it's quite close to me. It basically has a much shorter range than my beloved Tarantula X6. This thing has a lot of advantages over the Tarantula and some of the other ones that are similar to this model. Chief amongst these advantages is number one, the altitude hold mode, which actually does work really well. When the quad is flying well and it's working well, the altitude hold mode is great. In addition, I've kind of covered it up here with my action camera mount. The on-off button and the smart design battery compartment is fantastic. Those are things the Tarantula should have had, and HeliCMax has done a great job incorporating them, as well as this landing gear and the more beefy, kind of almost sexier looking, intense drone design. Problem is, and so those are all great things about it. And if you get a model that continues to be reliable and has all those things, it's a wonderful drone. You'll have a lot of fun with it. Just a little bit less range, quite a bit less range than you would get with the Tarantula X6. In my experience, though, the two models I've had have both had issues with them. It's not for HeliCMax not trying hard to work with me. It's just that these models, for some reasons, either have a lot of lemons or just haven't been reliable. Been kind of frustrated about that. Really not one I can thoroughly recommend at this time. Hopefully, they'll have a little more, maybe an updated version, maybe a Sky Vampire 2.0 that comes out. Really puts the Tarantula X6 to shame. I feel this one has so much potential. It's so close to being better than Tarantula X6. It's almost there, but it's just not there yet. It's not reliable enough for me to really fully recommend it. Been flying a lot and having dropouts at short range and having just various issues with them is really what's most concerning to me. Okay guys, Isaac Walton here for Hunting the River King. Sky Vampire by HeliCMax. Fascinating quadcopter with a lot of awesome features, but just not enough reliability at this point for me to recommend it. Later guys. For some reason my cat just loves the Sky Vampire box. Always wants to curl up next to it. Isn't that right?